welcome back to the stream, or should I say FRIYAY. It's weekend time, everybody, and we are super excited to be kicking off our weekend all together here on the stream. Hello, if you are joining us, especially for the first time ever. We are so glad you are here. We've been growing kind of like crazy, and it's been a while since I've reintroduced myself. I know there's a lot of people who are tuning in for the first time to the stream lately. So really quick overview. If you clicked on this and you're like, who the heck is this crazy lady and her dog sidekick? Hi, I'm Isabel Brown. It's so nice to meet you. I'm an independent content creator, and every single day, Monday through Friday, around 3 p.m.-ish Eastern time, we go live across platforms on YouTube, on Rumble, on Facebook, on Getter, on Locals, and on Instagram to talk about all things going on in culture from a Gen Z perspective. We have a lot of fun around here, and this is a true live stream, meaning we are live in real time, and we want you guys to be just as much a part of the conversation as I am. So make sure that you're using that live chat throughout our entire stream today. Introduce yourself. Let us know where you're watching from, especially if you're a first-time viewer. And if you guys agree with something that I say, if you disagree with something that I say, or if you have any questions, all the time, put it in our chat. If you guys are joining us, please do me a huge favor to get as many people to be a part of the conversation as possible. Hit the like button on this stream. That could look like a little thumbs up or a heart, depending on where you're watching. And most importantly, smash that follow or subscribe button on any of the platforms we are currently live on. Today is a really exciting day for me as an author. You guys might know I am a published author. I self-published my first book in 2021 about how crazy the American college experience has gotten with crazy political indoctrination. But my new book, The End of the Alphabet, How Gen Z Can Save America, about our generation's unique cultural and political identity, is hitting shelves on March 19th, just over a month, which is crazy. And today I got the shipment of my author copies from my publisher, Hachette Publishing and Center Street Books, working with them as a smaller imprint under the Hachette family umbrella. So a bunch of boxes showed up at my front door today, and I was like, what the heck is going on? It was all of my author copies. These are like the real deal. Like the actual book is inside here. We've got the description. We've got my cutie little author profile in the back. We've got our super awesome blurbs on the very back cover, which I'm super excited to share with you. So after we talk about the subject that I have picked out for the stream today, we're going to maybe, if you guys want, read you a couple of pages. I'm really not supposed to do that, but we're going to break the rules anyway because I want you guys to be excited and know that you can pre-order your copy of the book right now. Super really exciting stuff, and I cannot wait for you guys to get your hands or ears on a copy because I actually recorded the audiobook for this as well, and it'll be on Audible and everywhere else that you can find books. Let's say hi to a couple of people really quick while we're getting started. We've got MJ watching from Nigeria. So cool. Anna's watching from California. We've got Alberta, Canada. We've got the UK, which is very exciting. Big fan from Brazil, says Fabio. So cool. Floria's watching from Memphis, Tennessee. We've got Tampa, Florida, Germany, Quito, Ecuador, South Africa, Arizona, Utah, Canada, Germany, and more over on Instagram. So freaking cool. Our Locals gang is ready for a fun stream. Alex is here, Crazy Cat Lady, Magic Def, Aaron, Sabina, and more. Nitty Witty's kicking things off for us as usual on Getter. Tynes, Your Daddy, John Best, Michael, and more are watching on Rumble, and we've got The Name You Gave Me, Deku, Amy, John Carver, Los Ravosa, Total Package, and more watching on YouTube. You guys are the best, and I love seeing this community continue to grow. Really quick, Louder Jeff has a question for us about the book. We're going to come back to more details about the book at the end of the stream, but he's asking if it's a possible thing to get a signed copy of the book. It is, if you guys become an annual member of our Locals community, where we have exclusive content over there. We're going to be doing a meetup once we hit a certain number of supporters, which is super exciting. And it's a great way for you guys to connect with people who share your values and make some new friends from all over the world. If you become an annual supporter of our Locals community, you too can get a free signed copy of my book as soon as it is out to the public, which is very exciting. Thanks for that reminder, Louder Jeff. You're the GOAT, and we're going to jump in. Okay, so today for the stream, I have come across this crazy story as a follow-up to the release of the extremely controversial Apple Vision Pros that hit the market just a few weeks ago. I know everybody was like super hyped about them when they were being released, and then all of a sudden the hype has completely died down, much to everybody's surprise, maybe because they're so ungodly expensive. Literally nobody can afford to purchase a pair of Apple Vision Pros. But hitting the news this week, really just 2 days ago and today, Apple fans and like diehard techies and people who spent ungodly amounts of money to get their hands on the first iteration of the Apple Vision Pro mixed reality, augmented reality goggles, they're already returning them, saying that they're not very user-friendly, they don't work very well, and they are wrought with problems. Regardless of whether or not they actually work, because obviously that's an important predecessor to purchasing a technological product, especially when it has that high of a price tag, I was always just kind of freaked out by the Apple Vision Pros, to be honest with you. We talked about it on the stream when they hit the market, but something about them to me just gave me the ick, to be totally transparent with you. It was a little bit too dystopian for my taste. It has really, really cool implications for the rise of technology, and in some cases, I think is actually going to be a really helpful product for so many people. I watched a fascinating video on TikTok from somebody who is legally blind. All they can really see are like blurry shapes and light and have a really hard time differentiating between colors. And this legally blind person went to the Apple store and put the Apple Vision Pro goggles on and ended up seeing clearly the world around him for like the first time in many, many, many years. It brought him to tears. It was really cool. And I never really thought about these goggles being used as an accessibility tool or some way to help improve people's lives in that capacity. But then on the dystopian flip side, they want you to be able to relive your memories by taking 3D photos and videos so that you can immerse yourself again in your memories in the future while you're wearing the goggles. You can relive your memories with this magic thing called your brain, so I'm not exactly sure why we need to be wearing goggles that cut off our windows to the soul to the rest of the world in order to do that. That just gave me a really weird impression when they were announcing all of the features of the product. And then they basically want you to be wearing these in public is like the end goal. Ideally, the Apple Vision Pros are not just a gaming console the same way that the Facebook Meta Quest gaming system is. It's not just a way for you to experience entertainment, although that is a part of the Apple Vision Pros, but really these are designed as like a work and lifestyle product. You're supposed to be able to FaceTime into meetings, and even though it's covering your face, they will create an animated emoji avatar of you, essentially, to make it look like you're not wearing the goggles while you're on FaceTime. You can pull up your emails and the internet, and you control this entire thing using only your fingers, and that's really creepy. But the idea is not that you are immersed in a virtual reality, but that it's augmented reality, meaning your text messages and Google Chrome and Pinterest and your email and FaceTime will pop up in the world around you. And if you guys haven't already looked at the reviews of this product or watched the videos of what it looks like from an immersive perspective, really, really, really freaking crazy. And honestly, I just don't really love it, right? Our generation really has a high priority about work-life balance. We don't want everything augmented in our reality all the time because we want to be able to leave work at work and leave home at home and draw a really clear boundary with that stuff, which I actually really value and appreciate about our generation. We're really craving authenticity in a time where everything is fake and animated and AI and edited. It's not something authentic and real and tangible that you can touch. And I think this is going in the exact opposite direction of what we are craving, which might be speaking to why people are starting to return this product already just a few weeks after it hit the market. And I think it's just creating a further blurred vision, no pun intended, literally vision, between what is real and what is not real, which is really the stem of so many problems in the rise of AI-oriented or virtual reality-oriented technology in the 2020s. People have been roasting those who have already purchased the Apple Vision Pros on social media, especially when these people are using them in public. So I found a couple of TikToks illustrating this idea for you guys for us to react to. This is just an immediately no for me. We all know that audio of Justin Bieber. Immediately no. Just immediately no. How I feel while watching the TikToks of people using Apple Vision Pros in the wild. This is what they're intended for, by the way. You're not supposed to just sit on your couch. You're supposed to like be on the subway or be at a coffee shop or walk your dog wearing a goggle that looks like skiing that's $3,500 that you literally can't truly interact with the world around you. So get a load of this.
Hello. Can I get 2 bulgogi bliss sandwiches?
For dine-in or for takeaway?
For dine-in.
So the top window, you can see what he's seeing through his goggles. He's screen recording this. And the bottom window, you can see what he looks like to the world. This guy's ordering coffee at a coffee shop.
The maple pancake latte.
Look at that. Your apps are just like floating in the ethos.
Whole milk.
You want it hot or ice?
Hot, please.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. And you said whole milk, right?
Yes, please.
I hate this.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Experience.
It's interesting. Yeah. I have like the food order like popped up here, so that's kind of cool.
So he's eating his sandwich, drinking his coffee, and scrolling through Twitter, just in the space in front of him, not on his phone. That's so weird to me. I hate this. Genuinely not about it. Not about it. This guy got totally roasted, by the way, in the comments of this TikTok. Everyone's like, you look like a freaking idiot. Like, just order your coffee face to face, okay?
The fact that you can have like 14 monitors up while you're on the subway is actually ridiculous. And also the main fact that no one's really looking at him is a big testament to our society already. But the Apple Vision Pros have honestly been absolutely insane to watch. Being able to have this many monitors that stay in place on your wall while you're walking through your own house.
This cannot be good for our attention spans. Isn't Gen Z already struggling with, like, on average, a 6 or 7 second attention span? What would having all of these monitors in front of your face at the exact same time do for your ability to actually pay attention to anything or remember anything? How are you going to remember the score of the game and who you're emailing for work and the music that you're listening to all at the same time? It's just frying your brain.
It's a crazy idea. Be able to watch your game, be able to watch YouTube, do notes. When you're cooking, have something. Be able to expand it out like that is honestly a wild thought. What do you guys think about this? And also, do you think the tracking is jarring as it's kind of weird to walk through stuff? Overall, I think it's been really cool to watch, but the battery life at 2 hours is concerning for sure. But I could see if you're a big content creator and you're trying to have multiple screens to edit and do a lot of stuff at once.
How are you going to edit? How would you edit on this thing? If you're a big content creator, you're using Adobe products probably, not iMovie. So how would you do that? I'm genuinely no, I would hate that. I have more screen time than all of you guys put together because I'm editing all day long and I'm creating videos all day long and getting ready for the stream and sending emails and all of the above. My eyes are so exhausted from staring at a computer or my phone all day, every day. Could you imagine having like 4K LED screens this close to your eyeballs all day long, editing and editing and editing and editing? No, that would be terrible. My eye doctor already had to yell at me about too much screen time, that I need to look at something 20 feet away every 20 minutes for 20 seconds. That's my new rule because my astigmatism is getting worse. I got yelled at a few weeks ago. So imagine if you're wearing these all day, every day for work.
How it can be very helpful, but I do think it's going to be very interesting to see how many people actually pick this up at the price point, especially with Meta glasses only being a couple $100 compared to $3,000. It's a big difference.
$1,000, $3,500 is absolutely asinine. Nobody should be paying that much for the first iteration of these.
But Apple does win for their technology in the sense of how easy it is to use, and a lot of people do like that. But what do you think? Do you think this is worth it?
No. This is the one I saw and just said immediately no. Walking your dog in 2024. What do you see in this picture? What is everyone's immediate reaction to this relatively fit, attractive young couple, both wearing independently their own Apple Vision Pros and walking their robot dog? This is not progress for humanity. Not one bit. Dren says, this is kind of giving me motion sickness to watch them walk around. Yeah, like if you're out and about going on a walk, that would make me want to throw up. I would feel so dizzy doing all of this stuff. Sabina says, wait, that's not a dog. Libby, do you think that's a dog? No, that's not a dog. It's a robot. Aaron says, but it does have 4 legs. Accurate. This is so weird. Nate says, wholesome. So wholesome. Peak Assurance says this is insanely dystopian. Yeah. Zero Waste says immediately no. Immediately no. The Robo Dog. Creepy AF. This has to be a troll, right? This has to be satire, right? If that is our future, I don't want it. I don't want it. Please no. Unsubscribe. Unsubscribe. And then this one went insanely viral on Instagram and on TikTok in particular, because this truly is the future that all of the tech billionaires want to come to fruition. This guy gets out of his Tesla Cybertruck, which people are also complaining about this week, by the way. Total side note, that their Tesla Cybertrucks are being hugely problematic, the few people that have already gotten them on the market, because when it rains, it's already starting to rust their car. So not worth the price tag, in my personal opinion. And they also look like a child's drawing of a car. I think it is just like the most ridiculous vehicle that's ever existed. This is the future that they want from us. Which obviously is partially a troll, obviously, but this video got roasted all over the internet this past week. So I watched these videos and I'm like, if the future is us sitting on the subway or the metro or the bus in our self-driving cars, going for a walk with our robotic dogs, because dogs are probably bad for the environment just like everything else, but we can mine the crap out of the environment to give you a robo dog, and that's way better for the planet. All wearing these goggles all the time that create an augmented mixed reality instead of staring down at our phones. Frankly, I would rather just stare down at our phones. I would rather be able to have something that I can put away in my purse or in my pocket and not look at least have some differentiation, some level of distinction between fantasy, something that's not real, and tangible reality. But honestly, I think that they want us to be WALL-E. I do. I think that the end result is going to be WALL-E, and I hate that, because then all of a sudden robots have a more authentic version of life than we do. But as much as the hype was stirred up around these Apple Vision Pros to begin with, everybody said this is going to change the game. This changes technology. Everybody's going to be using these for work. I don't think that's actually true, because the die-hard tech influencers, the insanely obsessed with new technology content creators, everybody that has purchased the first round of these products are now starting to complain about them and return them in droves, which is crazy. This is from The Verge from February 14th, so just a couple of days ago, that Apple fans are starting to return their Vision Pros. They're citing comfort problems, insane levels of headaches, and even eye strain. What did I just say? Obviously, it's making all of our eyesight way worse, are among the top reasons people say that they are returning their Vision Pro headsets. They wrote from The Verge, for some Apple Vision Pro buyers, the honeymoon is already over. It is no coincidence that there's been an uptick on social media of Vision Pro owners saying they're returning their $3,500 headsets, which in and of itself is insane. Chat, would any of you actually buy a $3,500 augmented mixed reality goggle? That's crazy. That's rent for a really, really nice apartment for a month. That's a wedding dress, a really nice wedding dress. $3,500 is insane when you could buy basically the same thing from Meta for a few $100 or even cheaper down at Costco. We got to work on the price point at the very least. Apple allows you to return any product within 14 days of purchase. And for the first wave of the buyers of the Vision Pro, we are right about at that point. Comfort is among the most cited reasons for return. People say that the headset is giving them headaches and triggering motion sickness. Whoever just said that in the chat, you were absolutely right. The weight of the device is too heavy on your head, and the fact that most of it is front-loaded, so your neck is probably exhausted from holding this thing up all day, has been another major complaint. The product manager for The Verge told me that he thought using the device led to a burst blood vessel in his eye. Well, yeah, if you have insanely high resolution LED screens a centimeter from your eyeball all day, every day, I'm sure that's going to be causing insane strain on your eyeballs and all kinds of associated problems with that. At least one other person noted that they had a similar experience with eye redness. To be fair, VR headset users have anecdotally reported dry eyes and redness for years, which can't be good for you. Despite it being as magical to use as I would have hoped, it was simply way too uncomfortable to wear for even short periods of time due to the weight and the strap designs. I wanted to use it, but I dreaded putting it on, said one of the influencers who was posting about this stuff. It's just too expensive and unwieldy to even try to get used to the constant headaches and the eye strain that I was experiencing. I will be back for the next one. Somebody tweeted, I can't wait to return the Vision Pro. It's probably the most mind-blowing piece of tech I've ever tried, but I can't deal with the headaches after 10 minutes. That's it. 10 minutes of use caused such debilitating headaches. People literally cannot justify holding on to this product. Even though the technology is cool, even though it takes things to the next level, even though it's fun to play with, it's literally just not worth it to people whose entire existence revolves around technology, which is crazy. Somebody else ended up tweeting, 2 hours after unboxing my Apple Vision Pro and using it, I decided to box it back up again and return it. It's quite cool, but there's nothing in it for me that I will use frequently enough to warrant my keeping it. 2 hours is all it took, which honestly might speak to our attention spans as humanity and the fact that we're getting over things a lot quicker. We're just not interested in things over longer periods of time. But I actually think there's more to the story with this particular piece of product, because The Verge says the hardware isn't the only issue. Another common complaint is that the Vision Pro doesn't offer enough productivity related to the price. Looking at the screens made them feel dizzy, but also the device wasn't applicable to their work. Coding failed to convince a lot of people who are software engineers. They say, if I'm not using this for productivity and if I don't love it for entertainment and if there aren't enough games to play on it, it doesn't make any sense to keep it. A senior manager working on community management and moderation at Google is paid attention more to the finer details. They say there's too much going on with all the windows surrounding you all the time, and there's no file management whatsoever. You can't multitask while you're using the product. And so people are starting to return this thing in droves, either because the tech just wasn't where they wanted it to be, or because you literally can't bear to use this thing because it's causing such debilitating headaches, or is destroying your eyesight and is uncomfortable to use the entire time. I'm really curious to see where people go with this now, because if the first round of consumers for the product are hating their experience with it and are actually returning the product in the name of salvaging their health, productivity, or anything else, then how can we expect to roll this out at a greater scale? But other companies seem to try to be pushing through it and are trying to make this like the new cool thing that everybody has to get their hands on. And I don't know that it's actually translating to consumers. Like 2 days after that report, all of the returns happening in droves went out. Business Insider published this today, saying that a premium airline says it's going to start giving out the Apple Vision Pros instead of regular in-flight entertainment. They're not going to have the screens in front of your seats in first class on airlines anymore. They're going to start handing you these when you walk onto the plane for your entertainment. This specifically is happening with Beyond Airways, which describes itself as the world's first premium leisure airline. Every single seat turns into a lie flat bed, so basically all of it is first class. And right now they're rolling out giving an Apple Vision Pro to select passengers on the flights specifically on the way to the Maldives, so that instead of having a screen in front of your seat where you can watch a movie and they hand you the nice over-ear Bose or Olsen headphones, they're going to hand you a Apple Vision Pro headset to use instead. Even after everybody starts complaining about it and says, we don't really want to use this. This is absolutely insane, bonkers. It doesn't even work and it makes me feel dizzy and sick the entire time. People are still trying to shove this in our faces. So I guess I have a few questions for you guys, because personally, I could never justify spending this much amount of money on a product that isn't yet proven. And a lot of people are saying they're having a horrible experience with on the internet. In theory, the technology is really cool, and I think it could have positive implications and benefits, but I also think the dystopian nature of all of it is a highly outweighing negative factor to any of the positive attributes this product could provide for society. But maybe I'm just reading way too much into it, because I talk about the dystopian side effects of things all the time. Like, we love to play the tinfoil hat game around here on the stream. So my questions for you, chat, are, do you like this product? Would you buy one at this price point? Do you think that these augmented mixed reality glasses, goggles, whatever we want to call them, headsets, are a good thing for society, where we're integrating what's happening on here with what's happening in front of our face every day? Or does this just immediately give you the ick, like me? Because I am not about it. P. Charette says, not for me. MJ says, nope. Bobby Lynn says, nope, absolutely not. Sabina says, while I like robots, after seeing the movie Hugo, I was terrified of becoming a robot. I mean, that's kind of what this is, right? It's not only mixed reality, mixing what we see here and what we experience in our external world. It's also mixing the nature of us, because we're no longer tied to just ourselves and our minds. We have to be tied to this piece of technology if this ends up becoming like the next big thing. TC Moreno says basically the same thing on Getter. It's a cult. This is a machine merger with humans. Ooh, a machine merger with humans. That's fascinating. I never would have thought about it that way. Whoa. Katie Bree says, the only reason I have an iPhone is because it's paid for, but I won't buy a new one. So you're certainly not buying one of these. Naruto says, it doesn't matter. No one can stop the future. Well, yes and no. I think if nobody wanted to buy these, they would have to pivot in a different direction. Not to like totally compare apples and oranges, because they are not the same thing at all. But do you guys remember when Disney World announced that they were going to do that super fascinating concept immersive hotel that was like the Star Wars go to space? I don't even remember what they called the hotel. I can't remember it at all. Inside of their Galaxy's Edge in Hollywood Studios. And it was like an immersive 3-day experience where it felt like you were in outer space on a spaceship. And the concept was genius, but it was ungodly expensive, and literally nobody wanted to spend that type of money for an immersive experience like that. So after about a year, they ended up closing. What was that place called? I literally cannot remember what that place was called. Please help me, you guys, because I'm totally blanking on it. They ended up closing it because nobody wanted to buy it. Nobody wanted to spend that type of money to justify that type of an experience. So yeah, I think you're right, Naruto, that it doesn't matter. Nobody can shape the future on their own. But if nobody wants to buy these things because they don't work and they cause discomfort and problems with the physical experience of it, and everybody says it's way too expensive, eventually Apple just will stop making the product, the exact same way that Disney World was like hemorrhaging money on that idea of an immersive hotel. The immersive goggle thing won't really work for them if they're experiencing net losses as a company because nobody wants to buy it. Omnifist Production says comparing apples to oranges is impossible because there's no such thing as an orange phone. That's funny. You guys are funny. Dren says, I wouldn't buy it, but I'm trying really hard to think of areas that it would be beneficial. Interesting. Josh has a book recommendation for us. Read Battle for Your Brain. I have not heard of that book, but I'm going to go or add it to my cart on Barnes & Noble or something and buy it because that sounds super, super interesting. KSI says there's a huge potential, but it's just not executed well yet. I think the idea is fascinating and theoretically could be an interesting product for people to use, but maybe they just rolled it out way too soon for this to be effective or beneficial on the grand scheme of things. I just don't know. P. Charette says Meta tried this with the Oculus and it didn't really work. It's the newest fad. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I've played with the Oculus. The Oculus is fun. It's a couple $100, so it's not the same concept as paying $3,500. And it's specifically for gaming and entertainment. There's no work productivity. There's no crossover with your friendships and cameras and videos and all of that stuff. That's not what it's intended for. So I think it's also a different concept. Even though it's a similar headset, it's a similar physical product, it is a totally different concept. Nitty Witty says maybe they will start having virtual romantic partners with augmented reality. Many people will no longer date real humans. Well, we already have AI girlfriends and boyfriends on apps that we pay for. What if you could create a virtual immersive situation with something like the Apple Vision Pro and actually be on a date with your AI girlfriend or boyfriend? Not about that personally myself. No. TKG says they basically just want us all to be Wall-E, but instead of laying down, they just want us to look at screens super close. Well, with Wall-E, they also looked at screens super close. It wasn't individual screens over your eyeball. It was that flat screen that came over their floating chairs on the spaceship. So basically the exact same thing, which is wild to think about. Alex said, I watched Wall-E last week. I see the Vision Pros leading us that way. It's been years since I watched Wall-E. And I might have to go rewatch it tonight. I used to love that movie, and it's been years since I've watched it. But it's gonna be wild. Interesting. Sargent says, I wish Apple would come out with a gaming console. Honestly, I feel like they kind of like skipped that by creating the Vision Pros. If they had just like copied their version of the Oculus and made their version of the Oculus, people probably would have thought that was more fun and purchased that. And then they could have grown that into the Apple Vision Pros, but they tried to just skip to the end result. And I don't think it's translating well with people quite yet. I just don't think people are that excited about this idea. Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel. Thank you, guys. I had totally forgotten that. You guys got me. Debbie says, I just prefer real people, just saying. And I totally agree. And that's where I want this conversation to go from here, because ultimately, I said this before, what our generation in particular is really, really struggling with is a lack of authenticity in the world right now, especially post-COVID. Everything feels so fake. Everything is hyper edited, hyper curated. We experience everything through a screen. Our jobs are largely through screens because most jobs have some element of remote work now. Our school is still largely through a screen because most colleges and universities still have hybrid learning structures in some capacity. Our dating is certainly through a screen because we're all supposed to be dating through dating apps and swiping indiscriminately one way or another forever and ever and ever until we might eventually strike out and find love. Our intimacy experiences are through screens because teenagers and college students and young adults are largely watching pornography far more than they are experiencing true intimacy physically with another three-dimensional IRL person. And I could keep going example by example by example, but basically everything has become fake and your identity has been tied to what happens behind a screen, your external portrayal of yourself to the world, rather than who you are with the real people, the three-dimensional people, which we're really struggling with. And that shines through in the insane societal levels that we are experiencing as a generation of anxiety, of depression, of suicide. It shines through in that the fact that over half of us have chosen to just remain single. We don't want to date because dating in the world that we live in today is super fake and disgusting and involves a whole lot of swiping on apps that most of the people aren't even real on. I actually covered this in an Instagram video I posted earlier this week, but Gen Z is actually quitting our dating apps in droves right now. 90% of our generation says we've had horrible experiences on dating apps, and 21% of people signed up who are single and want to find somebody on these apps aren't using them anymore because they're not doing anything positive. They're not creating a positive change in our lives, which is totally a step in the right direction. But we could keep going example by example for where we're really hungry and longing for a real in-person connection today, where we need authenticity, where we need something tangible, and where we're really seeking reality in a world of augmented or mixed or completely artificial reality. And it's being really difficult every single day to distinguish between what is true, what is real, and what is fake. Did you guys see the videos that were going super viral this week? I don't have them pulled up for the stream, but we can talk about them next week. Of that new AI video company that like basically can make movies. A bunch of people were posting about this, but it's a new AI company that you can give them a one-sentence text-only video prompt and say, hey, make a video about this guy running through a field or whatever. And it looks like an actual video that was shot. So it's actually indiscriminate now in the world we live in with this type of rise of technology between what is real and what had never existed before you typed a one-sentence prompt into a computer. And I think the reason this product isn't quite landing the way that Apple intended for it to land with our generation is that we don't want a dystopian behind screens Wall-E future. We want something real. We want something authentic. And we're going to fight like hell to make that happen for ourselves, even when everybody older than us and in positions of power over us are telling us this is just the way of the world and this is what you have to deal with. it's time for a change. And I think Gen Z is surprisingly, much to everybody's surprise, going to lead the charge to make that happen, which is a perfect segue into what I promised we would talk about with my new book. I don't know what part I want to read with you guys, but I will just say I'll read you the blurb about like the description of the book. I might end up reading you a page or two, but I really want to share with you just the general consensus of what my book is about, because this ties in really well to what we were talking about on the stream today. I feel like everybody is wildly discounting and misunderstanding, fatally misunderstanding our generation. We are written off as stupid, as lazy, as entitled, as unwilling to try something new, and certainly as the end of our country, the end of everything that is good and true and beautiful. I mean, how many times have every single one of you heard Gen Z is destroying America? I don't believe that's true. And based on my experience as a full-time content creator, working as a Gen Zer with other Gen Zers every single day through social media, on our college campuses, on high school campuses, and more, I see something in Gen Z that pretty much everybody else has written off as impossible. But I think our generation truly holds the keys to saving Western civilization as we know it. When we think about the life as we know it concept and how everybody says Gen Z is destroying life as we know it, I want you to really seriously think about what life as we know it actually is. What 2024 American culture has actually become. Because as idealistic as we are, and as much as we say we want to preserve American culture, honestly, we haven't preserved American culture. We've let it completely go down the drain as quickly as possible, with America leading a race to the bottom for all countries around the world when it comes to setting a cultural standard. Life as we know it in America today is the upside down. It is. And the things that we say that we're fighting for to preserve don't exist anymore, which is why maybe the end of life as we know it might not be such a bad thing after all. Maybe it is time to say enough is enough with the insanity and the lies and the upside down nature of our culture that we live in today, and fight for something real and authentic and based in objective truth. And I think Generation Z holds the keys to make that happen as we come into adulthood and influence the rest of the world for all of the generations who come after us. So we might be responsible for the end of life as we know it, but maybe that's a gift that we should be actively fighting for after all. So with that note, I want to read you the description of my book because it's super exciting. Very exciting moment for me. Today in America, we live in the upside down. Lies have become truth, while truth and those seeking it are silenced and vilified. Our nation desperately needs a generation to rise up and fight for the future and those who will come after us. And that generation is Gen Z. Gen Z has the power to change the world. As the largest emerging demographic in American history, Gen Z is at the center of a cultural shift, one that will define the direction of our country for generations to come. Intellectually curious, culturally courageous, and unafraid to push societal boundaries, Gen Z is ready to embrace... Ooh, I can't even talk. I'm too excited. Gen Z is ready to embrace leadership as the most educated generation in history. These young and often underestimated Americans are here to fight for a better future, and we won't wait for permission to lead. Rising content creator Isabel Brown is smart, driven, and passionate, a strong champion for truth in America. She fervently believes that Gen Z has the power, the potential, and the opportunity to define the cultural direction of America. The end of the alphabet is a rallying cry for Gen Z to embrace traditional values in a new age way and step up to make our voices heard. Although taking an active role in culture and politics is nothing new for young people, today's youth face overwhelming pushback from older demographics. Looked down on by those who came before us as too young, too naive, and too unique to impact our society, Gen Zers are instead told down to sit down and shut up until they have earned enough life experience to lead. This view of Gen Z is crippling and deeply ignorant of the cultural shifts we have and will experience in the coming decades as Gen Z begins to step up into positions of power and leadership. So, who is Gen Z? What does the future of our nation and conservatism look like with Gen Z at the helm? Read this book to find out. Boom! Oh, I'm so excited, you guys. It's super, super exciting to be able to share this with you. There are tons of my fellow content creators out there in the world who have already read the book, especially to provide us some really exciting blurbs. And we have 3 really special ones on the back cover to share with you. First up is the legendary, iconic Brett Cooper, host of the comment section with the Daily Wire. She says, at a time when there is so much fear and pessimism, I'm grateful for Isabel's resounding hope, positivity, and empowerment. This book is a must-read for my generation and for the people who love and seek to understand us. Couldn't have said that better myself. If you guys love maybe the funniest comedian of all time, John Crist, he wrote our next blurb for us on the back. I feel like Isabel Brown and I are always making fun of the same stuff. I see her TikToks and often think to myself, thank you, like we were all secretly thinking it, and Isabel just said it. A refreshing outlook. As crazy as the world seems these days, I've always had tremendous hope for the future of this country. I'm glad Isabel feels the same. I mean, let's be honest, some Gen Z kids are a nightmare, but there is hope. And lastly, Graham Allen, who is the host of Dear America on Rumble and the founder of 912 United, the lifestyle brand, says, Isabel is the type of fighter that gives me hope for our future generation. In a world full of uninformed, unmotivated, and confused individuals, she is a voice for truth. I believe in passing the torch to the next wave of freedom fighters, and Isabel will go further than all of us when it is all said and done. Oh, this is all gonna make me cry. I am honored to call her a friend and fellow champion for Christ. And because you guys are the best and I love you so much, I will in fact give you a bit of a sneak peek from our introduction because I think it's fun. It's fun to share this with you guys. All right. Few paragraphs because I'm really not supposed to be doing this and I don't want my publisher to get mad at me, but this is your impetus, your reason, your sneak peek into why you need to go hit the pre-order button today to help us get our numbers up for bestseller lists, okay? So don't rat me out. Don't get me in trouble. Pray that they're not actually watching this. All right, few paragraphs. If I've learned one thing from working as a full-time content creator, it's that everyone has an opinion on youth culture. Rarely, however, are their opinions rooted in reality. Teenagers and young adults today are assumed by those who came before us to be a product of our chaotic civilization, consistently self-absorbed, steeped in instant gratification, and unable to look up from our screens to engage with the outside world. We're told we're too young to comprehend important societal issues, much less care enough to change them. We're labeled lazy, entitled, apathetic. You get the picture. But in our increasingly divided world, Generation Z is also seen as a prize to be won over. Political and corporate America are racing to build a youth base, pandering in any way they can to attract new customers to whatever they're selling, despite fundamentally misunderstanding who this generation is becoming. For many who came before us, Gen Z is an unrecognizable demographic. Simply put, we're different. We have new means of communication, unique slang, and different cultural norms. We dress unconventionally and listen to unusual music. We're moving away from traditional 4-year degree programs and towards unpredictable entrepreneurship. We're living out of suitcases instead of surrounded by white picket fences. We're pushing the boundaries of society as we know it, and it's unnerving pretty much everyone. As a result, I've witnessed American culture push Gen Z aside as unimportant, unimpactful, and unworthy of having a voice for the future of our nation and world. As I'm often called to represent our generation to those who came before us on the news, on the radio, and in print media, this affront to young adults has become a reality I am confronted with on a daily basis. It may be a popular thing to do, but here's the thing. Excommunicating Gen Z is a grave mistake. Teenagers and young adults in America are poised to become the single largest age demographic in our nation's history, packing a bigger punch politically and culturally than anyone who has come before us. We're already the likeliest generation to speak up about the things that we believe in, and the likeliest generation to boycott companies that we disagree with, according to BBC. We aren't waiting for permission to do things our own way. Gen Z is redefining cultural norms for ourselves through online advocacy, entrepreneurship, boots-on-the-ground activism, and political impact at earlier and earlier ages. Today's 12 to 25-year-olds may be young, but we aren't apathetic, and we aren't waiting for permission from older generations to make culture our own. We're rejecting the prescribed boxes of society we were presented with and building our own destinies. As a result, in the world of content creation and politics that I often work in, people commonly refer to Generation Z as Generation Free. Okay, I gotta stop because I'm gonna get in trouble if I keep reading this for you guys, but I'm really, really, really excited for you guys to get your hands on a copy. So, just as a reminder, you can pre-order your copy of The End of the Alphabet right now at the link in my bio, and I will redrop the link right here as well in our chat for you guys to get your hands on a copy. And if you are looking for a free signed copy of The End of the Alphabet as soon as it hits shelves, you can become an annual supporter of our locals community, isabelbrown.locals.com, for you guys to join the fun because it is super, super, super exciting. All right. It's Friday afternoon. You've put up with my antics for far too long. We're going to have a shorter stream today to give everybody a chance to enjoy the weekend. Next week is President's Week, which is super exciting. So we are not going to have a stream on Monday for President's Day because, also fun fact, I'm doing my first wedding dress fitting on Monday in Denver, which is going to be super exciting. It's finally my chance to get to try it on since it was made, so I cannot wait. And having all kinds of really fun surprises for you guys next week on the stream as well. So no stream on Monday. Enjoy the long weekend. We're going to end the stream here today to give you guys fun to kick off the weekend. And we'll be back with all kinds of fun content on Tuesday. Love you guys. Thanks for supporting all of my dreams here with my content and my book. And have a great weekend.